All right, oh, and I lost him. Damn it. I think we lost, damn it. Bring it, oh, there he goes. Through the hook. Oh, and he threw the hook. Oh, I lost him. Oh, unbelievable. Son of a bitch. What kind of a god are you? What's up, guys? I hope you're going to enjoy this one because I'm not. What I'm going to do today is share with you some of the more painful losses of fish that I've experienced in the last couple of years that I have on camera. Now, a lot of people have some form of a permanent reminder of all the fish that they've caught that have meant something to them. And I actually have the opposite. I do catch and release almost exclusively, but I do have a permanent reminder of a fish that I lost. If you look very carefully, I'll show you. It doesn't always show up on camera super well, but right about an inch below my knuckles, if you can see that line rising from the skin between my forefinger and thumb going across the back of my hand, it's this darker line of skin that stands out from the rest. It's a scar, and that actually came from the loss of a fish. Let me actually show you what it looked like when it happened. Cut to photo. So what happened was I was fishing for alligator gar, and I hooked one and it broke off, 80-pound Suffolk braid. Ran me through a tree under the water, snapped the line. Later on, I ended up snagging the line with a different hook. And I actually ended up getting that line in my hands and, like an idiot, wrapped it around my hand, not realizing the strength and power and size of the fish that was under the water. It was one of the most painful experiences I've ever experienced fishing. But that got me thinking. I want to share with you some of the more painful, emotional, painful fish losses that I've had. So let's get started. Number one. Back in the same spot again. Fish moving, stopping, moving, stopping. If he just starts going, you know what, in fact, we're set ready to set the hook on this guy. Bail's closed. You never know. He's still on. I don't want to tighten down to him. I want to feel him run into my Titan drag. Pull it until he hits that resistance, and I'm going to hit back hard. All right, he's on. There we go. I lost him. I saw him. He wasn't a giant, but he wasn't tiny either. He's just a little bit worse for the wear. I'm going to change baits out, but I think, tactically that was just a mistake on my part, letting it, he was going into the tributary. There's nowhere he could have run. There's no bend he could have gone around. I should have just waited. Should have been more patient. All right, guys, I think it's time. He's still got it in his mouth. He hasn't run with the bail or pulled line off the drag, but the slack that's been in the line, there's been a lot of it, has fully straightened out. Let's see if he's moving off again. Check the drag. Good and tight. Always like to have a nice tight drag for that hook set. All right, you guys follow me. I'm going to turn y'all around first. So the way this is done, I'm going to have to reel as fast as I can to get all that line up as quickly as possible. And the moment I feel that resistance, set the hook hard and pull him away from the bank. He may not even be there. It's just the way this thing goes. Oh, no. There's a fish on the other line. Okay, gotta hurry. Okay. Nothing. That is so typical. So typical of fishing for gar. Now, this particular video was one of the earlier ones that I had done. Strangely enough, it's actually the biggest video on my channel. It's pushing 850,000 views, and I have no idea why, because it's not my favorite. But it was pretty early on, And these particular losses were just due to a couple of things. Inexperience being a factor. Also, though, sometimes you just don't hook up on certain fish. Certain fish present a challenge in the fact that they are hard to hook up on. Some fish are super hard to find. Some fish are super hard to reel in. Some fish are super hard to land. And some fish are just super hard to get a good hookup on. There is nothing in the world more challenging than hooking up on a large, experienced alligator gar. Now, the ones I caught in this video weren't that large, but that's kind of the point. I got those ones. The ones that got away from me were probably a little bit bigger, a little bit savvier than I was at the time. So these particular losses are both a testament to the fact that I needed some more practice, as well as the fact that these fish are just notoriously difficult to hook up on. It's their specialty, is not letting you set that hook. And if you think you got it set, well, we'll show you different.
Guys, we're hooked, we're hooked, we're hooked. Big fish, big fish. Oh man. Look at him go. Oh, this is definitely a jack. Woo! All right, this gear can hold him. This gear can hold him. I just gotta let him tire himself out. Good God. This is a strong, strong fish. All right, oh, and I lost him. Damn it. Damn it. Okay. Well, oh man. There's the lure. We got our lure back. He just spit the hook. Holy cow. Woo, that was something. Oh, look at that. He straightened out the hook. He straightened out the hook. Okay, I got a surprise for you, pal.
Now, this one happened fairly recently, so it still kind of burns in my memory. At the time, I wasn't crushed by the loss of the fish because the jacks were running all over the place. You could see them popping the top of the water. So even though I missed that fish, I thought I was going to have a chance at another one. Of course, that didn't happen. That was my one and only chance. And the thing about that fish loss is it all stems from making the wrong decision in my choice of tackle before I got started. And those are the worst types of losses you can have, because you know you could have prevented it if only you had made the right decision. And the worst part is, I knew what decision I should have made. I second guessed myself. Let me explain. Now, I could have lightened up the drag on that fish. That might have saved me that fish. However, you do need some strong drag for jacks to keep them from running into those rocks, and I didn't have my drag turned up that high to begin with. It was kind of middle of the road for the setting on the reel. So I was fishing with one of these crocodile spoons. This one's a little bit older, so it's got some rust on it. But this is the same type of hook I was using. It's a saltwater grade treble. It's a nice big treble, but it's a light wire hook. And what I should have done, what I knew I should have done, and what I intentionally decided not to do, was use one of these. A big, stronger, single hook. This, once hooked into a fish like a jack, just gives you a much, much better chance of landing the fish than a treble. And I had several spoons rigged up with big singles, nice and sharp, touched up with a file ready to go. And instead of using those, for some inexplicable reason, I went with the light wire treble first. And yes, maybe if I had turned the drag down on that reel, I could have had that fish on for a little bit longer. You never know, I could have caught it. But what ended up happening is because of my wrong choice of gear, because I second guessed myself when I knew I shouldn't have, that fish straightened out my hook and got away. And although I spent the rest of the day until sunset casting and casting and casting, hundreds of casts, not a single bite after that. My one and only shot blown. Because I picked the wrong hook when I knew what I should have done instead. All right, guys. Rattle trap going out. He's still there. I still see him. All we have to do is get a kind of like a reflex snap. And we can hook up on him. Oh, he's going to try to cross. He's crossing. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Look at that fish. I don't know if you can see him, but let's try to get him hooked while he's right there. Come on, buddy. Nope. Wasn't having that. He can see us for sure, and I have a feeling he might just not be interested in feeding. Oh, he chased it, he chased it, he chased it. Oh man, I got one shot left before he's in that deep water. Okay, he's foul hooked. Oh my God, look at him go. Look at him go. He is foul hooked, guys. I will be amazed if he stays on. I gotta keep a tight line to him. Good Lord, this is a big fish. This is a very big fish considering the creek and the gear. Yeah, see that? See that? See him pulling that line? Big old fish. Let's try to get him over here. Now, me being me, never quite being 100% prepared, I don't have a net. There he is, guys. Look at that. That is a decent fish. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Peyton. Oh, look at his, it looks like a long-nosed gar. It's a massive long-nosed gar, and I've got it hooked by its pectoral fin. Woo! All right, buddy, come here. Oh, look at that. Beautiful fish. I want to try to get you guys all the footage I can, because I'd be... Oh, here's what we're going to do. We're going to guide him into this trough here. Whew. If we can, we're going to guide it into this trough here. Try to see if we can get it kicking and going up into here, almost kind of like a cow chute. Anybody here growing up in Texas raising cows know exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to try to use this trough like a cow chute. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come here, buddy. Almost. 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 Okay, that attempt failed. Let's try again. Oh, God. That fish is so big. This could give away at any moment. The tissue on his fin is actually holding out much better than I would have ever anticipated. Good Lord. Oh. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, kick. I want it facing this tunnel, this little channel here. Good Lord. This fish is hefty. It's a hefty, hefty fish. I want it facing this little channel here when it kicks. So let's let it go. Bring it. Oh, there it goes. Through the hook. Through the hook. Poor. Now this one is another gar. It was a long-nosed gar. And I hooked up on it with a rattle trap. I had a capable reel, a capable rod, good hooks, and strong line. Knots well tied. I was very well prepared for this fish, except I didn't bring a net with me. You see, I hadn't expected to catch anything that big. I was thinking I would catch small gar, maybe a couple of pounds, 2 or 3 pounds, lift them onto the bank. The problem is, if you don't come prepared to land a fish properly, you might as well just go home. Hooking a fish and fighting it up to the bank is only a part of the process of catching it, and most fish are lost right at the bank or right at the boat because the netting procedure or lack of netting is done wrong. I have a big net. I should have brought it with me. I didn't think ahead about the proper procedures for landing fish, and it cost me what would have been a fantastic catch. All right, guys, fish on, but we got a problem. He's taking us around the fence here. I gotta go. Oh, shit. He's a big fish. Okay, we're free. We're free. Is he still on? Beyond. I think we lost. Damn it. Son of a bitch. Now this was another alligator gar. There's a reason I lose so many gar. It's a combination of the fact that, number one, it's one of the fish I try to catch the most. So by default, it's one of the fish that I miss the most. Add to that the fact that they're one of the hardest fish in the world to catch once they start reaching a certain size. You're gonna have a lot of missed fish. The reason I missed this particular fish was very simple. I chose to fish from the wrong spot. See, there's this big wooden fence there. And when I say fence, I mean basically upended railroad ties. Big, huge rectangles of wood that are 6, 7, 8 inches thick, maybe 10 feet tall from where they're posted on the ground. So you have to walk back around these things in order to get from one side to the other. Now, where I was fishing gave me a better angle to cast the bait, but it didn't give me the best angle to fight the fish. So what happened is the fish ran downstream, and I couldn't get the line over the fence fast enough. So the fish effectively ended up snagging me above the bank. And you can see when it kicks and it pulls that drag, that's line being pulled out away from the fish, around a pillar, and then back towards the fish. That would have been a really big animal had I been able to land it. But because I chose to fish from the wrong spot, it cost me. It cost me maybe the best fish of the day. Whenever you go out fishing, you always need to pay special mind, not just to where you want to put your bait, but from where you're going to do it. Where you're going to fight and land fish, you always want to pick not only the best spot, but you want to pick the spot that's going to give you the best plan B. If this fish takes me around a snag, or a rock, or goes too far downstream, or cuts a bad angle on me, how quickly and easily and effectively can I get from this spot I'm in to the next best spot to fight the fish if it does that? I didn't think that far ahead. I was just thinking about right then, that spot, how good it looked. I wasn't thinking about plan B and plan C. The best catches of my life have come from having a plan B and a plan C and jumping to them as the fish tried to counter what I was doing. The worst misses of my life have come from not thinking ahead. Long, fast run. Long, fast run. Oh, this reel is singing. Look at it. My biggest fear now is that family that's boating over there, because this fish, if it takes out enough line, it could skirt around their anchor rope, and that is a lost fish. Okay. I think we came to the conclusion the first couple of runs we had were probably crabs, because they were kind of fiddly, they weren't really committal. This one is still going. And I read up a lot of guides, a lot of people, you know, fishermen that have successful publications that have come out here and hired the best guides so they could fish for gar. I read everything I could about this exact spot. And one of the things that I knew might happen is that a fish could pick up a bait and run length, or widthwise rather, across the dam. Not down current, but across the dam. And that is exactly what this fish is doing. Lord Almighty, he's still going. Look at that. I just want him to stop, commit to it. You see out there where the water is really rough? Out by those white rocks, that's where he's running to. God, he's still going. The worst possible thing that could happen here. Good grief, look at that sing. I cannot set the hook yet. He probably doesn't even have the hook in his mouth. Good God, how far is he gonna go? The worst thing that could happen is that we hook up on a big fish after he takes out 3/4 of my line. Ends up breaking all that line off. That would just be awful. Still going. Unbelievable. That is unbelievable. That is very clearly an alligator gar, though. Nothing else could do that. I mean, maybe a trophy-sized catfish, but this is not really what they do. God, I just want him to stop. Okay, he stopped. Oh Lord, I'm very nervous. He ran a long way. He ran at least 50, 60 yards. I only have about 200 yards at the most. I probably have 150 now yards of 100-pound braid on this reel. So I can kind of gauge by looking at the reel how far it went. All right, he's sitting still. The next time he moves off, that is time to set the hook. God, I hope this is a big one. There he goes. All right, no guarantees, but we're gonna try for this. He stopped again. Fish on. Hard to gauge size in this current. Okay, he's coming towards us. Feels decent. I think this is a pretty big fish. Hey. It's more, I think. This one was painful. I had gone out on a trip, 2-day trip, a short little road trip to Livingston. It's about an hour and a half away from where I live, so not a big deal. I had spent the first day fishing along the banks of the Trinity River, a little bit downstream. And then the second day I had gone up to the spillway. And this is not a secret. A lot of people get really angry if I tell the location of a particular fishing spot. But this is not a secret. All right, that is the spillway at Lake Livingston. It is well known as one of the better fishing spots in the state of Texas for quite a few species, but gar being the premier species. It's not a secret. I'm not giving anything away by saying where I was in that camera shot. Now, I had gotten there really early. I was in Browder's getting my permit. That's the little marina that has control over access to that area. I'd gotten my permit for my vehicle. I'd gone out there. It was like 6 in the morning. That's about as early as you can get the permit from Browder's to get out there. And I had great bait. I had caught the day before. I was well prepared. I had everything ready. Cast out, hooked up on a good fish. He ran, hooked up, heavy fish. He's not a monster, but he was pretty good. It would have made the video a success. You don't have to catch the biggest fish out there to make your video work. As long as it's a respectable size and you filmed it well, you're good to go. And I thought that was going to be it. I thought I had my fish. So I hooked the fish, I fight it in, and then this happens. The fish reached the bank, and its stomach, its belly, touched the bottom. And what I should have done is I should have had that rope, that landing rope, ready before that happened, and here's why. When you're fighting a fish in the water eliminates a large amount, almost all, not all, but almost all of that fish's weight. You're not actually fighting against the weight of a fish so much as you are fighting against the power of that fish. Now that changes to varying degrees depending on the species. With some negatively buoyant fish like sharks and rays, you actually are fighting their weight in addition to their power. But with alligator gar, you're mostly fighting their power until their stomach touches the bottom. Ideally speaking, you don't want to let that happen, because the moment that fish touches the ground, now you're fighting a combination of both their power and their weight. And your hook set may be good enough to control, to steer that fish when you're fighting its power, but it's probably not going to be enough to fight the fish's weight. Even a smaller gar for that area, 20, 30, 40 pounds, probably still too much weight to fight with that small hook set. The hook gave way, the fish escaped. Now, I did end up finishing that video with a good catch, but it took me the entire day. That was about 6:37 in the morning when that happened. I didn't catch the fish to finish filming the video with until about 6:30 that evening. And that was constant fishing all day long. Oh, I've got something running on the other line. Excuse me. Circle hook on this one. And that's a fish on. Yep. Oh, it's a decent sized one. I don't know what it is yet. I want to keep him near the surface, because there's a lot of sharp rocks down there. He'll cut this line. Oh, what are you? Where are you? I can't tell what he is. But he's decent. Oh, guys, this is a good fish. What have we got here? I still can't tell. He's come up to the surface at least 3 times now. I think he's a catfish. Oh, yeah, guys, he's a huge catfish. Oh, and he threw the hook. Oh. What kind of a god are you? But seriously though, that was an absolute monster catfish. I've never seen one that big. I hope he showed up on the head cam. Oh, I cannot believe he got off. My hands are shaking. Shaking. The hook is not distorted at all. Damn. That fish was big. This one hurts. So I had come out to a new spot on a bayou that I thought looked really, really good. It's the first time I was out there, so I wasn't quite sure of what to expect. I had my favorite medium tackle rod, Shimano Terramar heavy action 7-foot rod, the Penn Spin Fisher 4500 live liner. I had on 30-pound braid, I had on an 80-pound leader and a good circle hook. Had some good bait of some cut carp, threw it out, waited a little bit, and then the reel just started running and running and running so fast. It was shocking how fast it was running. Picked up the rod, lifted into the fish, got the hook set, and felt something immense. It was absolutely huge. I thought it was a 60-pound alligator gar. That's kind of what I had suspected to be in that area. Fish of that size, 60, 70 pounds, rod buckled over. I muscled that fish up, and I was worried. I thought, you know what? I've got monofilament on the end of that, tied to braid. If it takes it into those rocks, because I could see there were rocks on the bank, big concrete chunks. And whenever you see big concrete chunks on the bank, you should just assume that that's going to continue down beneath the surface of the water down to where you're fishing, because it usually does. And I thought, I got to get this fish up. I got to get this fish up. And I started putting too much pressure on the fish, trying to muscle it past these snags. And as if to rub it in, the fish broke the surface about 45 feet in front of me, 45, 50 feet in front of me. And it was the biggest catfish I have ever seen. Thought, this is it. I got to keep him above these rocks. So what did I do? Like an idiot, I put more pressure on the fish, and the hook gave way. Right after I had seen what a fantastic catch it would have been, hook's gone, flies past me. You can see it in the video. Fly past me, bait still intact. And I got to see that fish turn around, dive, and swim back the other way. Just thinking about it now still gets me. So painful. Oh, it was so bad. And what I learned from that, or what was reinforced from that, is that you should never muscle a fish. It's almost never a good idea. It's very rare that that will pay off. So what would have been the biggest catfish I'd ever caught is now the biggest catfish I have ever lost. Now I've lost a lot more fish than that. For every fish that you see, I probably lose at least one to match, maybe 2 or 3, depending on the species or the given day. But they're not all on camera, and I just wanted to share with you some of the ones that taught me big lessons and hurt the most. I also wanted to show you guys a little bit of what really goes on behind the scenes when you're fighting fish. A lot of YouTubers out there try to pretend like they're super elite and they never make mistakes and everything they do is awesome and they're just the gods of fishing. And it's not true. None of us are. We all make mistakes. I make so many mistakes. I do so many things wrong. I lose so many good fish, and I learn as I go, as anybody should. You didn't truly lose if you learned something from it. And each of those fish losses have taught me something or reinforced something that have helped me catch other fish down the road. So at the end of the day, I don't want to say it was worth it because it still hurts, you know, but it helped. We'll say that. More is coming, guys. Stay tuned. Like the video, subscribe, hit that little bell so you get the constant notifications. When the next video comes up, you'll hear about it. And until it does, I will see you guys later.